Hey guys, how you doing? This is Gavin Timms with REI Network. If you are watching us on YouTube, okay, or on the podcast, make sure you like and subscribe to the show. We got a lot of cool stuff. Before I get on to my first guest, I just want to give you a quick giveaway here. Go to reinetwork.com slash downloads, reinetwork.com slash downloads. I get a lot of questions of what skip tracing company that I use. I use batchskiptracing.com. If you use the code Gavin, it's going to give you 20% off. So hit that up, batchskiptracing.com, 20% discount, use the code Gavin. Right, guys, well, I'm super excited for my guest today, and I want to introduce him here in a second. Me and Shaun go back a long way. He was a client back in the day when I first got into coaching real estate. He's actually one of my first clients. Since then, we've done deals together, became good friends. He's actually done a lot with the coaching side with me in terms of, qualifying clients, making sure we're working with the right people, and loads of cool stuff. So we've done a lot. I know him really well, and we've got a cool deal that he's going to share with us today. One of the first deals that he got, and we're going to go and dive right into that. So Shaun Young, how are we?
Hey there, Gavin. Thanks for the introduction. I'm doing great, my friend. Thank you. How are you doing?
Awesome. I'm great. I'm good.
Good.
You know me, always good.
Yeah, good to see
you. Likewise. So, yeah, I'm excited, Shaun, because like I said, we go back a long way. We've gone from, when you started in real estate or we started working together. I don't know, it must be 5-6 years ago, I would think.
Yeah. We're going into our 5th year. Definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's been awesome. And what's amazing about, and I'm excited about this episode, is because you've just completed the first sandwich lease option that you ever got 4 years later. It's just closed. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to break it down. Okay. And before we get into that though, I want to find out a little bit more or our audience about you. So tell us how you kind of got into real estate.
Sure. Well, guys, I come from a sales executive background. I worked as a sales executive for an international company that was based in Sweden. And they decided one day to change their North American landscape on how they decided to do business. And that entailed laying me and about 750 other of my counterparts off. That included sales execs, project managers, everyone, all parts of those teams we were out of there. And it was just that easy for them. So,
Wow.
And I was a top producer. I was top 3% for quite some time. And I had a false sense of security with that. I felt like, hey, as long as I just keep producing for these folks, I'll have an income or a job or something. And I learned very quickly that wasn't going to be my future. I could not build upon that type of improbability of a job. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take the money that I have and I'm going to go try to figure out this real estate thing. I've heard about it. I hear that people can make money.
Yep.
I'll be honest with you. I kind of thought it was like a scam or something at first. I was like, there's no way this could be, like, how could you do this with no money or credit of your own?
We all do, right? We all think that.
So that actually, I'm like, once you actually get into it, you learn that it's not exactly no money or credit of your own. It does take a little bit of marketing dollars or got to have a phone, just need basic things in place. Yep. So you can't just be completely broke.
No, absolutely not. And just to, jump in with that, and I 100% agree. I think, there's 3 things that you need in the business. Okay. It's time, money, or both. Right. So if you've got no time, you've got no money, it isn't the right time for you. If you've got no money and you are broke, but you're willing to dig deep and you have the time, then yes, it's going to be a struggle, but you can definitely make it happen. So 100% agree with you on that.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Yeah.
No problem. But I will tell you guys this. When I did decide to make that leap to start doing the business, I dove head first and I went right into it. And what I did, guys, is there's a gentleman out there named Ron LeGrand. And Ron LeGrand, he's in our industry, he's a well-known sandwich lease option, creative closing type of guy. He's very popular.
The Godfather.
Yeah, we call him the Godfather. He's the Godfather, basically, right? I mean, he's the coach of so many coaches out here. So yeah, he's the man. He's been around for quite some time. And I came across, just doing Google searches and whatnot, I came across some of his information. And, I looked into his videos, and I said, hey, I think I could do this. He had a little mini course that was on YouTube. It wasn't really a course. It was just like, here are the steps to doing a wholesale or sandwich lease option deal. And
Yeah.
I said, man, I can follow directions. Let me try to do this. Guys, I'm telling you, taking action it's major. If you don't take action, you'll never know. So let me tell you what happened, guys. I got his script off of the YouTube video. I made 8 phone calls on Zillow. I went to Zillow, the for sale by owner section. I made 8 phone calls. 6 of those calls, no one answered. The 7th was a realtor. The 8th one wanted to do my sandwich lease option deal.
Yeah.
And guys, I had no clue what I was really doing, but I said a couple of key things that Ron said to say, and then I Googled some more stuff, and looked up some other agreements that I may need, because they were ready to go. They were very motivated. This seller was very motivated, and I'll dive into that at the appropriate time. But Gavin, I'll turn it back over to you now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what we want to dive into, because I think that, so far is you've got to take massive action, right? Obviously coming from a sales background, and having that side definitely helps in the business. There's no two ways about it. If you can relate to people, then you can make money, right? I do believe in that. But you can also, get better at them skills and things as you learn. But the big thing is that you are willing to take action, all right, without knowing every step of the way, which is exactly, the clients that I work with, that's what I get them to do, right? If I can take away the thought process and the overwhelm to say, I just want you to focus on this thing and let's go and do that, and then we will build onto it, we can actually move forward a lot faster. But there are people out there like you that will take that massive action. But a lot of people won't, because they want to know all the answers. And sometimes the answers aren't there, right? Because the situations, even today, we come across things in real estate that we can't prepare for. I mean, the craziest things happen, whether it's, we just, negotiated a lien from $109,000 lien to $6,000. Like, well, where do you teach that? How do you teach that? You just have to go through and start negotiating and figure it out. You can't do a course on that, right? Because you just don't know sometimes what's going to come up and happen. So you found this deal. Obviously, it was for sale by owner. You started doing this and you got it under contract. So you got it under contract, was a motivated seller. So that came easy. But what about the tenant? Let's talk about, how did you find the tenant buyer for this?
Sure. And if you need me to expound upon that seller anymore, I'll definitely do that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, let me give you a little bit more background on what that seller's situation was, guys and gals out there listening. That seller was a wife that I spoke with initially. Her husband worked for Delta, and he was being laid off. And they knew that it was coming down the pipe. They had another property in a whole nother state that they felt it was going to just be too hard to maintain 2 mortgages. They wanted to avoid any type of pre-foreclosure process. They wanted to avoid that altogether. Didn't want any blips or blemishes on their credit. So that's why I came in as a resource, because remember, guys, we are looking for people who have situations that we have solutions to. We're solution oriented guys. We're not just, looking to make money, even though that's a perk of it and that comes along with it, but we look to solve problems. And this lady's problem and her husband was, they needed someone to come in and carry that mortgage for them, make sure that they didn't, have any, misses on their payments. So what I asked them is that, hey, are you willing to allow me to rent your property out for a few years and then purchase it at the end of the agreement? And, during that process, I'll handle all repairs. You won't be a landlord. I won't be calling you for broken light switches or toilets and things of that nature. And I'll actually have a qualified tenant buyer that my company will screen, pre-qualify, and have in place. How does that sound? Is that not something you might not want to do? Or how's that sound to you? And she was like all over it. She was like, that sounds awesome.
That's awesome.
So like I said, like Gavin said, had I not taken some action, been sitting at home waiting for all the lights to turn green before I'm headed to the mall, you're not going to go anywhere. You gotta, when the first light is green, you go. And if the next light turns red, you stop, because there's a reason why you stop, and you figure out when's the next time to go again. So that leads us into the tenant buyer. How do we find that tenant buyer? Again, guys, I was totally spanking brand new to this. I didn't know what I was really doing, but again, I looked at some more things, some more videos on YouTube, and I went to Google. I created a questionnaire that basically, asked some basic questions. And I used that to screen my tenants, basically. And it was a archaic process, but it worked for me. I got good information that I needed to make sure that we could move forward. And I found it, like I say, when you do things will magically just happen for you. And I luckily found some great tenants up front that I had to basically choose from. I had to kind of push some people off because it was such a hot opportunity for the tenant buyer.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will say though, you create your own luck, right? So when we say I'm a big believer on that, when people go, oh, well, he got lucky, well, you had to be in it to win it, right?
Indeed.
So you have to show up to get into that position. The other thing is, I just want to point out, I like to analyze everything to try and pull out like the main pieces that people need to understand, is that you are dealing with a motivated seller, right? You are not trying to turn a non-deal into a deal. You have walked in with a deal on the table, but again, you have to be doing it to find them deals, and they will come around. Now, as you found, right, 8th call in, here's a sandwich lease option deal. Oh, this is, we're going to come on to that about, oh, this business is easy. I'm going to conquer the world. Of course, we know that's not going to be the case for every seller that we talk to. We know that there's a process and everything else, to get these deals done. So anyway, so we get the tenant buyer. You've created this. Now you've got it priced right? And I don't know this. We haven't really talked about this deal because I want to pull this information out. But I know for a fact that it's priced right. I know that the rent is priced right, because that's why you've got the tenants fighting over it. I mean, I don't, like I said, don't know the numbers, don't know the price of the home, but I know that is a fact, because one of the key things is that people make mistakes in the industry is they go and price everything too high, right? Or the rents are too high. And if the rents are too high, it will not move. So you are wasting your time. If you got a sandwich lease option, $1,800 a month, and everything's renting for $1,400, and you're saying, well, why is it not moving? It's because the rents are too high. And it might be a motivated seller and they're saying all the right things, but they're not being realistic. So you must have had a good deal. So let's talk about the numbers then. So what did you lock it up at? How much cash flow? What did you make on the back?
Guys, I used another technique that I learned, which was I said, hey, listen, are you willing to sell me the property for what you owe on the mortgage at time of closing? I didn't even know what I was saying, but I said that. And she said, sure. And so I was like, phenomenal. Okay, so of course you go through the process of being able to go and retrieve loan information to see where the mortgage stands. But she provided all that to me, let me know where everything was. So guys, that I got that property for basically $274,000. It was worth at that time $300,000.
Yeah.
Approximately at that time. So, but that's what I got it for. I said, we'll negotiate for what it's owed on at the time of closing. And she agreed to that. Nice.
So your contract, so what did you make? How much did the tenant put down?
The tenant, okay, one thing I forgot to say, the PITI, which is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, it equated to about $1,890 per month.
Okay.
So that's what the seller wanted.
Right.
I advertised the property. I didn't know any better. I started off at $2,500, and for 2 days I didn't get any hits. So I looked at some more videos, and like Gavin said, I figured it was too high. So I said, you know what? Let me bring it a little closer to market standards, but make it just a little bit higher so that it'll help. And the reason why I did that, guys, is because you want to be able to have a perk in place so that tenant buyer has something that motivates them to make sure they want to purchase. So if they're at 2,200 And then once they purchase, they can get down to, 1,800. It just helps them understand. They're in a rent to own scenario. It's not like a regular renter out there.
Yeah.
So they understand that the scenario is a little bit different. And I didn't understand that until I, actually dove into it and saw that people actually get it.
Yeah.
So so go ahead, Gavin. I kind of got lost on the question.
No. Did you do rent credits then or not? Did you do
None
any
at
credits?
all. I did no rental credits at all. And for the down payment, guys, I advertised for a $10,000 down payment, and I'll explain why that was not good. Because I could have gotten more, but I didn't know any better. Remember, guys, I'm just making things happen. So I advertised 10,000 non-refundable option fee. So if they exercise their right to exercise their lease option at the end of that lease, then it gets applied to the purchase price. If for whatever reason they don't, it's a wash. So this first tenant that moved in, she was a great tenant, $10,000, boom. You know what I did, guys? I took half of that and went and purchased a mentor. I met Joe McCall and Gavin Timms. so that's what I did, guys. I said, you know what? I think I need to have some mentorship, moving forward. I've done it what I can do, but I just feel like it'd be better to have a coach. So guys, I took half of my profit and that's what I did. I purchased a coach and actually I purchased a couple of coaches and didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know what these things were called. I didn't know what a wholesale was versus a lease option versus anything. I just learned as I went on. Yeah. So that tenant buyer, I ended up getting the tenant buyer in place with $10,000 down and a monthly spread on top of what was owed to the mortgage company, basically $279 above what was owed.
Okay. So what was the cash flow? So we got how much the payment was. That was $291. $279 a month.
Yeah, pardon self, yes.
So for 4 years, right? So this tenant never moved out. Did you have any hassle with them?
Let me tell you what is so awesome about our program, guys. The fact that we find qualified tenant buyers who actually can potentially purchase. We're not looking to just fill, people in homes. This lady, she was a great lady. She decided to get married halfway through the process. So you know what I did? I said, you know what? I've learned from my mentors that doesn't matter. It's a great thing because remember, I had lots of people lined up for this property. It's in a gated, guarded community with a view of downtown Atlanta, but you're not it's right there in the mix of things. So it's a highly sought after community. It's a great, great place. So I was quickly able, once my tenant let me know that she was going to move out because she was getting married, can't fault that, life happens. She gave me a 90-day warning, a 90-day notice. I found somebody within a week of her notifying me. They put their deposit down, waiting for her to vacate, which was another $8,800. So $18,800 down so far. 279 spread. And I'll let Gavin pick up from this point. I don't want to move too far ahead.
No. So 279. So four times 12, right? 48. So we got 297 times 48. So about 13,392, right? That you're making per month. Okay. You've got 18,000 after that tenant leaves, nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. She's moved on, got married, life changes within that. Then she leaves, you get another 8,800, right? So we're at 18,800 down. We've cash flow about 13,392. And then what about on the back? How did you get that structured?
The back end, guys, back end was awesome. The back end, we closed that deal because I had it under contract with my tenant buyer, if I'm not mistaken, for 308. For 308, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to get that number off, but if I'm not mistaken, it was 308. So of course they've had $8,800 that was applied, to that up front. So we applied that to the purchase price. So they didn't have to get a loan for that entire amount. They got a loan for $300,000.
Right. The
difference between what was owed at the time of closing versus that $300,000 is what I got. And that was approximately 28,800 and some odd dollars. And I sent a screenshot to Gavin because it was literally, that was a phenomenal deal for me. So I was so excited. I was like, man, we have got to share this with the world.
No, absolutely. I mean, this is awesome because, again, 4 years on, exactly how we're sandwich lease option. We're talking about, cash up front, cash flow, cash on the back end. So we have, if you made 28,800, let's just call it, on the back. Well, let's say we got 13,392, and we got 18,800. So you're looking at about just over 60,000. 60,000 and some 60,992 based on the calculations I just did. $60,000, okay, for a call that basically was the 8th call up. You didn't have a clue what you were doing, right? And it's probably, without going like, looking at this, because it's a great sum of money, it's a fantastic deal. But now knowing what you know, you're like, could it have been 100 grand? I mean, you don't know, right? But at the same time, you're making money moving forward. So I remember when we started working together, have you done any deals? And you're like, well, yeah, I've got this like lease option thing going on, kind of just figuring it out, but you didn't have any systems. It was absolutely madness. It was chaos. But one thing that is always, always music to my ears is that you are willing to take massive action, right? And that is something that, sometimes you can't even teach, right? We talk about mindset, getting the right mindset, having, self-belief, self-confidence, because you do need a lot of this in this business, because we are getting beaten down every day. No after no after no after no. And my mindset is that if someone else can do it, I can do it. And these are just internal beliefs. I don't need to come out and tell anyone, but my general thought process is that if you can do it, I can do it, right? And people that are negative, because you're going to get it, people listening, family, husband, wife, kids, parents, friends, they're all going to doubt you when it's new. Because remember, the majority of America, the majority of people in the UK, we are built to do the 9 to 5, right? And when you come out of that and this, you're not one of the 9 to 5s, and you actually have a different mindset, everyone else, all the 9 to 5 people are the first ones to jump on you, right? By saying, you can't do it. What are you doing? I mean, look at me from England, a golf professional coming into the US, trying to make it in real estate. And I don't even know anything about building a house. I don't know anything, right? But there's certain things that I could take you can't take away that I have self-belief, self-confidence that I can make this work. And that can go a long way. And I think everyone listening to this, that if you are getting that negativity, it's channel it back in to prove people wrong. And that was the fire for me, so I just wanted to, throw that out there, for people listening. But we started to work together. You're in this chaos, and now, I mean, we went from you doing some more deals, lease options and wholesaling, in Atlanta. We've also done some virtual stuff as well, having systems. I know now you're in a new market, in Ohio. You've just done your first deal in, I don't know, I guess, 3 weeks of marketing?
Yeah, learn under 30 days. Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is the thing that you can take, these processes and things that, we can put in place and literally do deals everywhere. It's kind of like, where do you want to do the deals? It's not what's a good market. And we had that. I mean, you've done deals virtually with me. You've done your own deals in Atlanta, but going virtually, on your own, it's like, well, where do you want to go? Where's your passion? This works anywhere. It's about following the process. And yes, some markets are harder than others, more are competitive. But if you do what you're supposed to do and you can build good rapport and you're solving problems, you will make money in any market.
Agreed.
Agreed.
And be a problem solver, guys. Like Gavin said, I didn't try to uncover or turn that person into that family into a motivated selling family. I discovered a motivated seller, and that's
Absolutely.
what we do, guys. We discover the motivation. We don't drag it out of them.
Absolutely, and that's great, because people, all they're trying to do is, my clients, they have the same problem, and even on my team sometimes, is that we're trying to turn non-deals into deals. We're spending so much time trying to make something that's never, ever going to work. I just had a client message me today. He said, they're really, really motivated. They want to do a rent to own. Like, this is the one. I'm like, awesome. Like, tell me the details. Well, they want 40,000 down. No, they're not motivated. It's not happening. So what are we going to do? We're going to go make an offer. We'll tell them we'll give them a month's rent. You're going to put it together. And because, well, yeah, but they're super motivated. I understand they're motivated. They're sounding motivated, but the reality is they're not motivated. Or we got to get past that front of they are motivated, but they're just throwing numbers out to see what they can get. And that's when you need to say, well, actually, what is the problem? What do you need solving? Why do you need 40,000? Do you need 40,000 now? Can you do what you need to do on 2,000 and wait, and we'll get you more money? And you can have them discussions of what's going to, work best for the seller, especially on a creative way. So.
And I want to add one other thing, guys. When you speak from a place of certainty, it definitely goes a long way. With that seller, that family that sold me that sandwich lease option, let me tell you this, guys. I took that property under contract, and for the next 90 days, they still carried the mortgage on that. So I locked it up. I had 90 days to put a tenant buyer in place, which I found one pretty quickly, and they still carried the mortgage, guys. So negotiate properly. One thing I wanted to say that was a mistake that I learned once I picked up a coach, Gavin, is that you never sell yourself short by advertising a down payment price for these lease options or the sandwich lease options. Because if you're out there advertising 10,000 and someone has got 30,000 that they've been saving, ready to put towards a purchase, and all you ask for is 10, that's all you're going to get.
Yeah.
So just be careful with that. When you guys go about your endeavors, that's just a little thing I want to throw out there.
No, absolutely. That's great. And you're definitely right. Because if you never want to sell yourself short, even on the cash deals we do, right? Try and get the buyers, and this is all about positioning. Try and get them to give you a number, or throw your number in high, knowing that you have spread, because you don't know. Otherwise you're selling them too cheap. You're not making enough money, because we need spreads. This business is hard. And for people that are doing $2,000 to $3,000 a deal, yeah, it's money, but you need to be thinking bigger than that. You need to be thinking 10 minimum, 20, 30, 40, and why not, right? Build your spreads in there. And there's nothing wrong, especially when you go creative, you're getting paid 3 different ways. And you could say that, oh, that was a perfect lease option. Well, not really, because they didn't buy the house and you had to put another one in. And that's more income for you. And the person getting married is cool with it. They understood what they were getting into. There's nothing that you need to hide, right? One of the biggest things is, I tell the seller on the lease option, is the tenant buyers, especially if it's an assignment, the tenant buyer is going to be paying me. Are you okay with that? Absolutely. You're getting the price you want. You're getting the rent you want. The tenant, and normally my lead in to this is, you're getting, 200,000 that you want. You're getting 1,500 in rent. And you're probably thinking, Mr. Seller, how am I getting paid? Are you thinking that? And then they'll go, yeah, how are you going to get paid? Well, actually, the tenant buyer pays me. Are you okay with that? And then 99.9% of the time, oh, absolutely. Yeah. And if they don't, if they're not, we discuss it then. And I will say, Miss Seller, this, and then I'm going to pull away. This isn't probably going to work. You're getting the asking price. You're getting the asking rent. Like, you want it all, and I can't. You want a massive down, but it's not going to work, right? It's not going to work like that, right? And you always need to, in negotiation, when you're negotiating cash, lease options, creative finance, right? When you get down to the closing table, is that you have to always give and take, right? Even if they want the smallest thing from you, you have to take from them. And if you don't, what happens is they want this, and now they want something else, and now they want something else. So if you, in the first negotiation, say, okay, right terms of money or whatever it is that you're discussing, that, okay, I'll give you X, but I want this in return. And then they'll go, okay, yeah, we'll do that. But next time they come to try and negotiate, they're thinking, well, if I do that, he's going to want something back, so I'm just going to leave it. So it's just a good little negotiation tip there for anyone
That
listening.
is awesome. That is awesome. And guys, what Gavin said also about that down payment, man, if they're asking for a huge down payment, especially on these lease options, that's a key indicator that there's not much motivation. When they're saying, I want 40,000, that situation that I explained to you guys earlier, the sellers didn't ask for any down payment. They didn't ask for any down payment because that was not their concern. Their concern was something else. So keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind.
Absolutely. It's, and people listening that have had a motivated settler will get this, but a lot of people are like, well, I've never seen this. And it really is out there, but it isn't out there. I don't know how many, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 100. I don't know the figure. You just got, again, the word lucky. You got lucky. It was the 8th. Well, no, you didn't. You created the luck by being in it to win it. So good for you.
Absolutely.
So obviously we started working together. You're doing deals now. How is everything else going kind of in the real estate? You kind of tell us a little bit more about your setup in the real estate business and in terms of, your team and market and things like that.
Sure. Well, guys, like I said, I've had a great mentor along the way. Gavin has he's gone above and beyond for anything that I paid for, as far as a mentorship. And I really, truly appreciate that, because you really need that in this industry. You need someone to help keep you accountable, to keep you on the right path. And luckily I had Gavin, and I tried to not take advantage of having him there, because I knew that I'd only paid for so much. So I figured, like, hey, let me try to maybe be an apprentice or learn more by working with them somehow. And that's exactly what I did. And so now, guys, I've literally taken everything that Gavin has shown me over the years and used it to create my own team. I actually wrote a book, guys. I actually wrote a book.
Yeah, plug it.
Yeah, the book, let me show you guys. Adventures in Wholesaling.
Nice.
Adventures in Wholesaling, guys. So these are things that years ago I never would have thought of, but with Gavin's, like I said, help and persistence with me, it allowed me to keep going in this industry, because you will have peaks and valleys. And Gavin is one thing that he told me that I'm going to tell you guys. Never forget this. Follow through is the key to your success. It is the major key to your success. Don't count on these first time calls, getting these deals, and don't beat yourself down when you're not getting those. Those come, but don't expect those. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, it is something I say. I'm laughing because it is like, I quote it like 1,000 times a day.
Yeah.
But you're right. Everyone's going after, the first deal, land the big one. And it's like, no, allow the big ones to come by working the business and allowing that to happen. Focus on today, not the outcome. The step-by-steps will give you the results that you want, you deserve, you need, whatever that may be. And and the good thing is as well, like, I remember you've just left, you were making over 100 grand a year, when you got let go. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying, like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to you. Like, at the time you're freaking out, and I'm like, no, this is the best thing that's ever happened. I don't care what you make, but when you work for you and you're on your time and your earning limits are as high as you want them to be, your lifestyle is whatever you want it to be, and you control that. There's nothing that money, and people say I'm full of it. Like, but you could offer me 10 million a year to go into corporate and I wouldn't take it, because it's not all about the money. It's about the lifestyle. And I just think, especially at times like now, and I remember that conversation, I'm like, look, you won't look back. Just trust in it. You're going to make it work, and you won't need to, because you were thinking, I'm going to have to go and get a job. Like most people are. I'm going to have to go and get a job. I'm going to have to go and get a job. And it's like, right, hold on. We're focusing on you going and getting a job. We're not focusing on what we need to be doing to making money in the business, which is get on the phone, get making offers, follow up until somebody says yes, right? And that's kind of what I believe in. And profit is in the follow-up. So
follow up, guys. No way around it.
Awesome. Well, look, it's been an awesome episode. I mean, 60K over 4 years on a sandwich lease option, first ever deal. That's fantastic. So good for you. And anything else before we leave you want to share before we let everyone go?
Well, guys, I just wanted to say again, if you're on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, I do have that book out, Adventures in Wholesaling. It's a quick guide to get you guys started. Talks about mindset, all the way to the closing table. But other than that, guys, I wanted to say, I really thank my mentors, Gavin, Joe McCall. They really helped me out in my career, and like I say, without them, I know that I wouldn't be where I'm at to be able to help others. I help others now, so it's each one teach one. You pass on what you get, and if you don't have it, you can't pass it. So with that being said, I definitely thank you for the opportunity. And guys, if you're out there on the fence thinking, should I do this or should I not? Get off the fence, go do it. Just get in there, jump into the game.
Absolutely, 100%. And guys, if you're interested in working with me, go to reinetwork.com/coaching, reinetwork.com/coaching. We don't have, Shaun used to talk to everyone. A lot of you have been listening to this know Shaun is. From that, we do not sell anybody. If it's the right fit, we work together. And if not, we're the first to say it's not. And, we'll try and give you a better direction where you need to be. So appreciate you, Shaun. Thank you. And everybody else watching. And talk to you soon. Thanks.
Check it out.
Bye-bye.